Can't remember your dreams? You may be missing out on a huge chunk of your entire life. They might be trying to tell you something. In this episode of the Stress Less Show, learn how to add lucid dreaming to your toolbox. Hi, I'm Carly Myers, a stress management expert. One thing I hear day in and day out is that we feel like we've tried everything when it comes to stress management. We may have tried the mainstream approaches to managing stress, but have we really tried to get to the root of the issue? Each episode, I bring on experts and leaders to not just put a band-aid on your stress, but to actually get to the root of the issue. This month, we're focusing on physical health. It's a top stress trigger in the United States right now, and it seriously needs some attention. Specifically, I brought on a guest who addresses sleep and lucid dreaming specifically. Evan Stites-Clayton is a hacker, poet, and dreamer. He has taught hundreds of people how to lucid dream through in-person workshops and via his Dreamcatcher app. And in his waking life, Evan is a hacker who built a tech startup raising nearly $100 million in venture capital. If you ask me, it's a pretty badass guy, and I'm really excited to have him on the show. Welcome, Evan.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So I'm curious, how did you get into this line of work?
Lucid dreaming is something that I think originally kind of found me in a form that I wasn't actually excited about, which was that when I was a child, I used to have very scary nightmares and night terrors. At the time, I struggled a lot with issues of fear, anxiety, worry. And later on in life, I discovered the movie Waking Life by Richard Linklater, which is a film that's an animated / live action movie that is all about lucid dreaming. After watching that movie, I spontaneously started having lucid dreams. And it really changed my relationship with sleep, with the night terrors that I had been having, and sort of transformed what I thought was a problem, something scary, into my new superpower. Going from there, I learned that there are some pretty easy to learn steps that you can take to achieve this state of lucid dreaming, which is a dream in which you are aware that you are dreaming. And I began to teach people. So I started doing small group lessons. We grew into bigger lectures, and we ended up actually organizing an official university course at Brown, which was like a semester-long course where we looked at every aspect of lucid dreaming, the spiritual traditions surrounding it, and even up through the sort of modern science of lucidity. So that's a little bit of my background. I like to think that I have the tools to help people get lucid. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping to share on this show today.
Awesome. And for those of you who are listening who know a little bit about me, you may know that this is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. Having experienced trauma with the PTSD symptom of night terrors and feeling helpless. So I'm really, really excited to explore lucid dreaming. This is actually something I've never explored. I have explored dream interpretation and all sorts of other things, but I'm excited to see, Evan, what you have to share. So what would you recommend for someone maybe like me who's had that experience, who maybe currently, someone who is currently experiencing that, or maybe just doesn't remember their dreams in general? What would you recommend as a first step?
Yeah, so I think what I'd like to do is I'd definitely love to address this question of night terrors, and particularly how to resolve sleep paralysis issues, because I think they're kind of related. You get into these really scary, dark places that nobody really wants to go. But before I address that, I'd just like to talk about some basic tips that I think are really useful for anyone who kind of wants to start expanding their dream practice and moving towards lucidity. So the first of those would be to simply write down your dreams. Dream journaling is a very powerful practice in that it gives the dream a place to go in reality. It's like a kind of a nest for the dream to fly into. And by having that nest there, you are actually enabling yourself to dream more and to sort of make the dreams a more real part of your world. They're actually getting written down into physical or digital something in reality. And what you'll find is that even for people who often tell me something like, I don't remember my dreams, how could I write them down? Just by having that dream journal by your bed and having the intention that you'll write down anything that happens to come into your mind. It could be just a single feeling, a single thought. At first, maybe it's just an image. If you have the intention to write these things down, you will start to dream more and you'll start to be more in touch with your dreams. That's bringing some awareness into the darkness that might just be your dream life right now. You either may not be aware of anything or you might be aware of some unpleasant experiences like a night terror. The second thing is to start actually doing reality tests. So it's comforting to know that there is some definitive ways you can test if we're in a dream or if we're in reality. And these eventually can become helpful in the practice of disassembling the nightmares, because if you realize the nightmares are dreams, obviously they're less scary than when your mind is thinking this is a real situation. So one trick like that I'll teach you very quickly is the nose trick. It simply works like this. You pinch your nose and try to breathe through your pinched, closed nose. Maybe take another deep breath through your nose. And if you're listening right now, I invite you to try this now. So try taking a deep breath through your nose, feel what that feels like, and then pinch your nose shut and try to do the same thing. And what you'll notice is the sensation of sort of the shutness of the nose. It's clamping down. You can't actually breathe through it. The interesting thing is that in a dream, you will actually still be able to breathe through your nose, even when you're pinching it as tight as you can. And so that is how many people who I teach the lucid dream end up having their first lucid dream. They start to kind of habitually do these checks, whether it's, every time they walk through a door or every time they feel tempted to pull out their phone. That's my favorite one. It's like to tie the reality check to when you feel tempted to pull out your phone, because it's like another addiction that we have. And when you can breathe through your nose, you realize, oh my gosh, I'm dreaming. And that's kind of the start of lucidity. So those are the two things. The last thing I will say is that changing your sleep habits can also change the kind of dreams you have and can help you have lucid dreams, particularly by having a moment in the morning when you wake up and then go back to sleep.
It reminds me, there's two things that what you've said kind of reminds me of. The first thing is I used to have dreams where I was able to breathe underwater, and I always knew they were dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
Example is perfect. I'd be holding my breath, like I'm putting up air quotes, holding my breath in the dream, but I was still able to breathe. And the second thing that I think I can kind of attest to, Evan, is that wake back to bed process. Not necessarily for lucid dreaming, but for remembering your dream as soon as you wake up, not actually jumping out of bed, but laying in the spot in the same position in which you woke will enable you to really start remembering more. So I absolutely love that. And so, Evan, I know that you're really passionate about this subject and supporting people and supporting them in a way actually where they don't even have to make an investment to start exploring this. So would you mind sharing with our listeners exactly what you have to offer and to share with the world?
No, I'd love to. Thank you for asking. So I have been teaching people how to lucid dream in group settings and sort of, interpersonal setting. And I always give people sort of roughly the same set of instructions. One day I decided, I'm a programmer and I'm a lucid dreamer. I should just make an app that teaches people how to lucid dream. So that's what I've done now. Recently created a app that is called Dreamcatcher and basically guides you through how to lucid dream in 5 minutes a day for the course of 2 weeks. It's very simple, very easy steps, just gives you guidance. It tells you like, when you wake up in the morning, do this, and then you do that the next day. This app is completely free. I'm not trying to make money off of it. There's no pay to have the full version situation. It's just something I want everyone to have. And it would mean a lot to me if you downloaded it and tried it out. It's definitely a great way to get started with lucid dreaming.
Absolutely. So where do we go to get the Dreamcatcher app?
You can just go to the App Store and search for Dreamcatcher or Dreamcatcher Lucid Dreaming, and you'll see it. It's the one with the logo is like an eye, kind of like an Egyptian style eye.
Okay, perfect. So if you're interested in learning more about how to lucid dream and add that to your toolbox, please go to the App Store and download Dreamcatcher. should be a good find. So will this concludes this episode of the Stress Less Show. Thank you, Evan, so much for coming on the show. Next week, we will be talking about addiction, how it comes in all shapes and sizes, and what we can do about it. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Carly.